On last week's program, we brought you some great vintage RVs at the Rolling Oldies Vintage Trailer Rally held in Oregon. Well, if you think you'd like to get into the vintage trailer lifestyle and just don't have the time or skills to restore one yourself, there are a few qualified restoration shops scattered throughout the country. One such shop is Sierra Trailer Restoration, located halfway between Sacramento and Lake Tahoe in the small community of Nevada City, California. Pete Snyder has been in the restoration business since 1970 and began specializing in vintage trailers about 12 years ago. And what got him into restoring vintage trailers?
We got into trailers because of the purchase of a 59 Airstream, a small one, and people wanted to know who restored it, and it kind of started from that, and that kind of spawned the business.
And like most restoration shops, Pete specializes in certain trailers.
Specialize in aluminum skinned riveted type trailers such as Airstreams, Avions, Silver Streaks, that type of trailer. We're currently doing a mid-30s Airstream. However, most of our business seems to be 50s, 60s, and 70s vintage trailers. And we're capable of doing everything from the ground up, completely reskinning them to chassis rebuilds.
Is there a difference in restoring vintage cars or trailers?
Vintage trailer restoration is very similar to car restoration. The process is the same. You pull everything apart if you're doing it really thorough, and everything kind of gets dealt with. And the only real difference between car restoration and trailer is that there's no drivetrain in trailers, and the process is very identical.
Like any restoration project, you start from the frame up, and this 1948 Clipper was no exception, as Pete explains.
We've rebuilt the front framework. These trailers had a 5-inch round tube that went down the center of them, and they had problems where they connected the steel attachment points to aluminum, the floor joist area. So we've modified that and corrected all the problems with a new axle and new springs in it. These were really quite aircraft constructed trailers. All the cabinets in it were aluminum. So we're going to keep some of those and add some wood interior to it and give it kind of a marine look inside.
Not only is this classic Clipper being restored, but Pete is also adding some custom touches that only add to the luxurious look of this classic beauty.
These are original windows. We haven't changed the size of them at all, the dimension, but just rebuilt the openings, and there's about 80 screws in them, and they're quite a process to take apart and rebuild. Front area, the tongue, we've completely rebuilt it and extended it about 18 inches. And so there's a fair amount of custom work on the front part. And these are trim pieces that cover up some of the damaged sheet metal, but give the front end a little bit of style. Here, the door was badly damaged, so we've built an entirely new door, and we're giving this trailer kind of a marine, kind of a yacht flavor, as you can see with the porthole window. The doors are fairly complicated. We've built this one from scratch, and there's the better part of about 30 to 35 hours worth of labor, start to finish, to build a door like this. So they're quite time consuming. This area around the wheel weld was damaged, and we've changed the design a little bit and made it a little more pleasing and strengthened that whole area up. Now the windows, we've enlarged the openings maybe 4 inches and went from a sliding type window. These are a mid-70s Airstream window, and with the radius corners, and it kind of softens up the whole look. The tail lights, we're kind of doing some custom things here with these riveted surrounds, and they're from a 50s Peterbilt cab lights. So we're going to have a little bit different look there. These tail lights we're adding to it are actually reproduction 50 Pontiac. So here we have a similar trim work around the rear that'll match the front. The rear windows are all factory windows that have just been rebuilt. The size hasn't been changed. It'll get a custom tube bumper around the back, and the entire trailer will be polished when it's finished.